when we think about health and we think about wealth and we think about connections, wow, this next speaker, this is a soul sister, not just from previous lives, but definitely from future lives. Simran runs the 1111 magazines, the 1111 podcasts and radio shows as well. And when you listen to her, and she's writing, I think it's 4 books and that as well. But when you listen to her, it is just like an enlightened being, but somebody that I can honestly say is like a soul sister. She sent me a message today before this Hit Talks Live, this Mammoth live stream, and I cried. That's the kind of lady that she is. She is just heartfelt. She is there in this world as a light worker, as an earth angel, as a guide, as a new world guide also, to really, really spread hope, inspiration, transformation, and love through the world. Thank you so much for being here, my love. And I now give you your 8 minutes.
Contracts come, lives intertwine. Anger, sadness, grief, and resentment. A soul curriculum you must all learn in your own time. Sing your song out loud while creating your story. A spiritual journey, a human experience. There are no mistakes in all this glory. In all this glory, all seems lost when you look in the mirror. Hope is gone, let yourself fall to hear the call. This is the beginning when you learn to belong. A life wrought with separation. No, it's preparation, leading you, guiding you to who you are, to who you really are. In a moment, you'll awaken to your soul's true call. You have a call and a soul signature and a song. And you know how I know? Because you've been seeing them. You've been seeing the signs, the symbols, and the synchronicities. You've been having the conversations with the universe. I've had the most extraordinary life in the most ordinary of ways. You see, we live in a world of magic and mysticism, beauty and bliss, but we get so caught up in the muck and the mire that we can't see it. And so we send ourselves tappings, whispers, signs, symbols, what I call conversations with the universe. Many years ago, I started seeing the numbers 1111 30 times a day. Now, mind you, I thought I was going a little wacko, but actually I was not. The universe was speaking to me. I asked for it, of course. I literally hit a wall. Life was very painful. It was quite the experience. And I couldn't quite understand why life had to hurt. I didn't understand why relationships didn't work. I couldn't fathom that we came to this planet to feel all of these dense and negative emotions, but here they were in my experience, in your experience too, I'm sure. They call it the hero's journey, but even that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, that we come to this planet to suffer, just to find ourselves again so that we can be in bliss and then call ourselves hero. That just didn't make any sense to me. So one day I got on my knees and I prayed and I said, give me a sign. I need it to be clear. I need it to be concise. It is time for you to speak to me. And if you're not going to, and I can't have these answers, I just don't want to be on this planet anymore. So send me a sign. And the very next day, 1111 started appearing 30 times a day. It was on everything. It was on billboards and license plates. It was on mailboxes and store receipts. It was on a bulldozer clearing a plot of land in my front yard. It was amazing. There was even a train that stopped me, and every single car, every single boxcar, and there must have been 30 or 40 of them, had 1111 emblazoned on the side. Now you might imagine that could make someone think, what's going on here? How can this possibly be happening? And you might not be seeing 1111. You might be seeing something else, but I guarantee you, you are seeing something. There is something that keeps tapping you on the shoulder. There is something that keeps showing up in your life, and it's a message. It's a message for you to experience more of you. So why would the universe send us signs, symbols, and synchronicities? So that we learn to trust. You see, we don't trust life. A lot of us don't trust the universe, and most importantly, we don't trust ourselves. And so there's this built-in mechanism for us to do so, and that's what's so brilliant. But even after seeing all of these signs and being guided to start a magazine and a radio show called 1111, I still wanted to prove to myself that this was really happening. And so I started asking more. And what I discovered was that we're being talked to in all kinds of ways, all of the time, that we don't just simply get one sign or symbol here or there, but we literally get them constantly all day long. We are being spoken to in paragraphs, and we're being guided through those signs and symbols as to our next best step. So every time you receive a sign or a symbol, understand that's not synchronicity as a once in a while occurrence. That is living a life of synchronicity. And when that sign shows up, it is really asking you to look at what you're thinking about in that moment. Because more than likely, you're thinking about a dream or some huge step that you want to take or some leap of faith, but you've also allowed your mind to say, you can't do that. There's no way you could accomplish that. Who do you think you are? But that's why the sign was sent. It was the universe saying, we've got your back. Have a conversation with us. We've sent you the sign, and that sign is to prompt you into inspired action. Well, a conversation takes two. And so when you get that sign doesn't mean go ask for another sign. You know, we are human and we do that. We say, could I have one more sign, please? And then when the second sign shows up, could I have just one more? We are so fickle and we're non-believers, but we can believe that there is a universe that is guiding and supporting us. So when you get that sign or that symbol and you have that thought of something that you want to leap into with all of your heart, then take a step, even if it's a small one, because it will allow you to move. I wanted further proof. So a few years ago, I decided to embark on a tour. I decided to take my 2 kids in an RV and put on a show in 66 cities around the country. It was to have no plan. It was to have no script. I was supposed to show up and sing and be funny and talk. And you know what? I'd never been on a stage before in my life. I'd never sung a note. And I certainly wasn't funny because I'm spiritual and spiritual people aren't funny. But I said, I'm going to do this because I got the signs. They led me. And I wanted to prove that signs and symbols show up. And it began right away. We embarked on the journey. I ended up manifesting an RV because I just knew it was possible. You see, we live in a magical world. And when we really do believe and we intend and we live aligned, things show up for us. But as part of the conversation, I decided that everything that would happen on the journey would create the show that I was going to speak about and unfold as this tour went along. So as we ended up in DC for the very first show, something happened to the RV. It stopped working. It wouldn't crank. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's happening? This is a sign and a symbol. You see, they show up in all kinds of ways, in the most mundane and ordinary, as well as the most extraordinary. Well, the RV wouldn't start. So I went and took it to someone, or actually they came and picked it up to try to figure out what the problem was. And after a while, they were able to fix it. And while I was there, these gruffly grizzly men that were working on the RV wanted to know what we're doing. And I told them I was going on a tour to teach about oneness and signs. And as we did so, they were inspired. So I asked them what the problem was. And they said it was the solenoid. And so once we got there and it was the solenoid, we cranked back up and went to the next city. But the moment we arrived, it cranked off again, and it wouldn't move. And I knew that that was the sign from the universe. So I sat down and I breathed quietly, closed my eyes, and I said, what are you trying to tell me? And I started to say solenoid, 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 silly noise, silly noise. Oh my goodness, the first story of this show. Am I supposed to tell people that it's the silly noise in their heads that has them going up and down and back and forth and stopping and starting? Because a solenoid is what cranks up your vehicle. It gives the communication from the key to the engine that it's time to start and to go. So it's the silly noise that stops you. Follow the signs, follow your heart. Don't listen to the silly noise, and allow yourself to live your dreams. Have your conversations with the universe. Thank you, Vikki, for letting me be here. And thank all of you for entertaining me with the signs, symbols, and synchronicities that you have been. Bye.
Thank you, my love. Follow the signs and synchronicity. This is why we knew that we had a soul contract together, because the 1111 is a number. You know, I always screenshot it, and I've even got my 17-year-old daughter now saying it's 1111, and you see these signs and you follow them. And this is what we've been talking about all the last speakers of Hit Talks, is about seeing the signs, following it, following your gut, following your intuition, asking where you are in that moment, and what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what argument have you just had, or what conversation have you just had. And maybe journal a little bit, and maybe write it down, because that will actually support you on understanding the signs a little bit more. But more to come from Simran anyway. So thank you so much for sharing with us.